it's funny because we will do literally anything.
Anything.
If you tell me to roll in shit to make my hair better, I will go. Just tell me how long I need to be in the shit. You know, like
I'm there.
It is so emotional.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Certified Oversharer. I'm your host, Samantha Busch, and today I'm so excited for Blair Hayes, owner and founder of Skin By Blair here in Charlotte, to come on. Blair is a self-proclaimed science nerd, and she has not only created her own fabulous skincare line, but soon, you guys will hear it here first, she is launching her very own hair serum. The reason she started this project was because she herself has battled hair loss, and today she's going to talk to us all about not only her own hair loss journey, but some really practical tips that anybody battling hair loss can start incorporating into their routine. Not only that, we're going to talk melasma, what's in and out in the skincare world, and what you should really spend or save your money on. So everyone, get ready for an awesome episode with Blair. Okay, well, I'm so excited to have you on. I've known you for many years, gotten Botox done by you and everything. Know you from the aesthetics world, but tell our listeners, how did you get into all of this?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's such an honor and pleasure to be talking to you today. I mean, we've chatted a lot, we've shared a lot of the same struggles. So excited to dig in. But yeah, a little bit about me. So I am a physician assistant. And I own Skin by Blair, which is an aesthetics practice in Charlotte. A little bit about how I got here. So that's, I'll make a, what do they say? Short story long. I think that's a new thing that people are saying these days. So when I was growing up, my mom was sick. She had cancer growing up. And I, at that time, really just fell in love with the, science of medicine, but then also like the human aspect of it. So you can be really good at being a doctor or, being a provider. But if you don't really have that like human connection of like your why behind it, patients really feel that. And so just felt that through that experience, God really put it on my heart I just felt like he was calling me into medicine. And so I always loved skin. I always loved aesthetics and thought that, okay, that's just something that I can do for me. But like God didn't call me into medicine to make people pretty. And so started off in the ER, and I would work during, the weekdays doing emergency medicine, and then on the weekends I would do aesthetics. And it was like, that's what I'm doing for me, but I'm doing this other thing for him. And it, through a series of many conversations with patients, it became that I could get into, but way too much time that we have today. But, it became very clear that he actually gave me that passion for aesthetics for a reason, and that I could really make the biggest impact in people's lives in this space. And so that kind of, went from just part-time doing it into full-time, and it kind of just snowballed and grew from word of mouth from there. And I'm so blessed to get to do this and that people actually want to come see me.
Yes, well, and we should also say that your practice is gorgeous. It's down in Charlotte. It is so beautiful. Like everything's such a vibe in there, and I absolutely love it. But
thank you.
We've met many years ago, and I feel like you and I, as you mentioned, have a lot of similar struggles. One being melasma that we've talked about, and then hair loss. So I really want to dive deep. I know we both have crazy schedules. We've been meaning to have this conversation for months.
Many times.
So let's just have it on the podcast.
Absolutely. I love it.
Can you start and tell me your own personal hair loss journey? And then I think it's going to be so helpful to hear what you've done to combat that, because the last time I posted about hair loss, my DMs were just flooded. Yes. So this is a very real issue that many women are facing.
Yeah. And not only are they facing it, but it's also something that feels very personal and private, and it's our own struggle, that once you open up about it and talk about it, you realize just how many people are going through it. And it's a heartbreaking journey. And so a little bit about my journey. So back in, I believe it was around 2020, I have lupus, and I, gradually started, losing my hair. And so at first you don't like think anything of it. You're brushing your hair, a little extras there, or you're washing your hair in the shower, and it's like the hair gets stuck in your hands, and you're trying to like get it out, and that just keeps getting worse and worse. And then, someone makes a comment of like, move your hair this way, I can see your scalp. And it's like, oh, what do you mean you can see my scalp? Like, you only see yourself from 2D most of the time looking in the mirror. And then, you're trying to figure out what happened? Why am I losing it? And it is kind of just this panic that you feel. And it feels hopeless. It feels like you're trying to figure out what the heck caused it. And then the stress of it then makes it worse.
Even worse.
Yep.
Yes.
And they say, well, reduce your stress. And it's like, have you lost your hair? Because if you've lost your hair, you're stressed, right?
And then every single strand is like...
Yes, people start counting them.
I count them.
Yes.
Well, now I'm just into the handfuls. So I'm like, is it one handful today or 2 handfuls?
Yes.
And then I always tell people the thought of getting in the shower literally makes my stomach hurt. Because I'm like, I don't want to wash my hair.
Yes. And there's also kind of I don't know if this is what you would call it, but for me at least, it was like this social anxiety aspect of it. Like I'd have to go and be around people that, thinking about, oh, they have good hair. I'm going to be next to them with my hair, right? Or like thinking, one time I was at a Panthers game around, a bunch of people that often got photographed, right? And I was like, I can't look this way. Like, I don't want to be in anyone's photo with my wig or without, what if someone says something? And we think more about ourselves than anyone else thinks about us. No one is thinking that. But, it's something that is in every single thought. Like, you don't even want to leave your house because it means that you have to shower. And if you have to shower, then it means you have to brush your hair. And if you brush your hair, more hair is going to fall out. And then you have a meltdown. And then you can't cancel your plans last minute,
I feel like you're just talking about my every single day.
Yeah. This is funny. So I don't know where this ever came to me. You know the scene in Princess Diaries where is it Julie Andrews is like teaching Anne Hathaway like how to wave in the procession, and she's like, "Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here today." I like literally every single morning as I would brush my hair, I'd be like every strand, I'm like, "Thank you for being here today. Thank you for every single one. Thank you for being here today." I know.
Intact.
I'm just so grateful for every single one that's there. And so I am a nerd, total researcher at heart. That's kind of how I started my skincare line. Is everything that I've done, I've never set out to do. It's kind of been something that has kind of turned into what it is. And so with my skincare line, my patients were having this, certain struggles that I couldn't find a solution for. So it's like, well, fine, I'll
create one.
I'll create it. Like I research, I know what I want. And so I kind of create that. And so, once I started dealing with hair loss, and it just, again, I felt like I was the only one. No one really got it. My family didn't get it. My husband didn't get it. He would say, "It doesn't look that bad." And I'm like, "You're invalidating me. I need you to say, yes, it looks like Blair, and you are validated for thinking it looks terrible."
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Or when they're like, "I'll still love you if," and you're like, no, I know that, but I need you to understand how awful this is.
Yes.
And I need you to tell me it's that awful because that's what I'm feeling.
Yes. And I genuinely, truly believe that, even providers, I don't think unless you've had it or been through it that you actually get it. I don't think you can understand it. It seems like, why do you talk about your hair? Your hair's not that important.
At least you don't have this.
Yes.
I've been told that. I actually, this is bad to say on air.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
I stopped going to my hair derm who had fixed this once with the Band-Aid with all the heavy topicals, which was great. Mm-hmm. But I keep going in and I was looking for answers. And she literally was like, "Well, at least it's not as bad as it was the last time." And I'm like, "But we're trending that way even quicker than last time."
Right.
And there's just no solution. It was like, "Well, keep trying. Hopefully it'll stop." And I'm like, that's not an answer.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know, like along those lines, I feel like you can tell someone that's been through it and it's not. And, I genuinely feel like, after this long process, and I'll get to kind of solution options in a second, but it feels like with how hard it was, you come to a point where you realize that, okay, God has a bigger purpose in this, right? Like, what is that purpose? And I was actually thinking about you on the way here, and I hope this is not rude or, incorrect to say, but, with your infertility struggles, you, of course, we don't want that at all. You would never want that for yourself, but like, look at how many babies you brought into this world.
I say all the time, it was God's plan.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I am positive that God's plan was for me to lose my hair, most of my hair, 90% of my hair, because one, I can empathize with people that are struggling with it, and it is so emotional, And two, it's like I feel like I am in a position that I have, the research mindset, and I have these connections of formulators and stuff that I can be like, okay, what are freaking solutions out there? I think knowledge is power, so understanding what is causing it. If you can understand what is going on, why it's happening, and what to expect, then I think that's a lot of the battle mentally,
That's why I've tried to share it too. Like, I want people to know that they're not alone. And I'm trying to normalize wig wearing because everybody wears freaking extensions. So it's not that much different.
We don't even have a choice to wear extensions because there's no hair to attach onto.
No, it would literally just fall out in a clump. And
Yes.
I can't put any more pressure on it. Like, I literally stress when I'm going to work out and I have to like tie it up. I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen to it?
I mean, I felt like I couldn't even work out because if I sweat, that just starts the whole process over of extra washing, extra brushing, extra, mental toll that it's like, I can't handle that today.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what do they feel like is causing or contributing to yours? 0
answers.
Okay.
So when it started, let's see, it would have been almost 3 years ago, they thought that when I tell you, I was at an endocrinologist, an OBGYN, a regular doctor, a dermatologist, like a holistic doctor, you name it.
Yep.
I did all the things.
Yep.
And so at the end of the day, they said, okay, we think what happened, because at the time, Kyle had lost his job and was switching jobs. It was just like a big transition. They were like, this must have been a stressor event that then flared up, basically a stressor event that then flared up an autoimmune and like alopecia. And I was like, okay. And so
right there with you.
From there, they said, what we're going to do is we're going to put you on oral spirulactone, and we're going to put you on topical, a compounded pharmaceutical grade of minoxidil and finasteride, because I started taking those originally orally, but the cramps that I got in my lower legs were, it was the worst pain I've ever
felt. It's
felt.
also unhealthy, if that's a sign that, hey, this is not a good thing for your body.
No, it was every night it was miserable. Like, that hurt so bad. I didn't only get the Charlie horses. It would be weird. My foot would bend all the way like forward, and this whole thing would lock, and I couldn't get it unlocked. Like, it was.
Did they explain what was going on with that?
No.
What was likely happening?
No, they just said stop taking that. And
Which one did they say to stop taking?
So they just said, we're going to put you on topical for both. Okay. And I also need to preface, this was before I knew about ChatGPT, which I felt like would have been really helpful.
Yes, I love it. I tell patients all the time.
And then they put me on a topical tacrolimus,
okay,
which I didn't understand what that was, and they told me it was like a non-steroid steroid.
Okay.
And so for 2 years about, that worked.
Okay.
Hair came back fully. Wasn't shedding, had tons of new growth. It came in really crazy, like corkscrew curls, wiry, but it was there.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care.
I don't
if there's
care.
hair there, fine. Great.
I'll take it. It was great.
Yeah.
And then about, close to 2 months ago, it just started coming out. And it wasn't like this gradual uptick in shed. It was like one day, hardly anything. And the next day, I'm like, wait, this is 2 handfuls of hair. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's the way I tied my hair. Maybe it was a wig.
You're trying to justify every single thing.
And then day after day after day after day. And I've gone back to all the normal people and no answers. And so just at a loss.
Yeah. Can I ask a couple extra follow-up questions? Ask me anything. Okay. One, didn't they do like a biopsy of your scalp at one point?
Twice.
Okay. What did it find?
Alopecia areata.
Okay. Yep.
Yep.
So that's what they're saying is the cause. What do they think like triggered that?
One person thought alopecia. One person thought, how do I say this? I need to go back through my records because at this point, yes.
Yeah.
And so both derms, so they kind of then just put them together.
Okay.
And they were like, this caused this. So we have both. So I had 2 scalp biopsies.
Okay. And you for sure the scalp biopsy showed areata.
Yes. Okay. Which I always thought was weird because I have diffused hair loss through the back half. I have no spots. So that's why I never understood that.
Yeah, I had a patient recently who had a similar situation. She had diffuse all over. And she said it was areata. And I was like, areata is usually like circles,
That's
and so
what we
it's
said.
not always, it can be diffuse, which is confusing. But so did the first biopsy show normal? It was just telogen effluvium, or both showed areata?
So they both showed it.
Okay.
But then they were thinking that because there was that huge stressor event,
Yes.
that it caused
That it triggered
that.
that. Okay.
Now I'm really curious. I need to go back through my files. But yes, it was
Okay.
alopecia, because I
Okay.
was like, I really have alopecia?
Well, so alopecia means hair loss. So the word that's after alopecia is basically what it is. So the alopecia is just, you could say anyone that has hair loss has technically alopecia. The areata is the part that, in my understanding, I need to check myself, but that is the part that is that autoimmune aspect for you. So you said that started about 2 months ago.
Picked up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was okay until then.
It was great. So it started 3 years ago, and then probably about 6 months into the hair loss, we got all the things. And the only reason I had 2 scalp biopsies was I went to one dermatologist first, and she was wonderful, but they wanted me to put me on this drug that had just been cleared by the FDA, and it was this very high-powered drug. And I was like, wow, I don't know how I feel about that. I can't remember the name right now. I think it started with an L, and I was like, I'm going to get a second opinion.
Yep.
So I drive an hour and a half down to this lady that everybody recommended, and she did the biopsy, and she just felt like it was something different, because she was like, it's just not presenting the right way. I don't want to put you on this high-powered medicine.
Yep.
Though I was still put on high-powered medicine.
For sure.
It
Yep.
just wasn't as high. And for 2 years, the hair growth was starting, the shed was lessening. I was like, okay, great. I don't really love being on all these medicines, but I had no side effects.
Yeah.
Honestly, with being on the spironolactone, my skin was great.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
So
wonderful.
when did the cramps start? The leg cramps?
So when I had originally, before they put me on the topical minoxidil finasteride, they had done all oral.
Okay.
And it was when
so
I
you
got
were doing the topical spironolactone then, or are you doing oral?
oral.
Okay.
I was doing everything oral.
Okay.
Except I was adding some minoxidil on top too. And when the leg cramp started, they were like, all right, we're going to move the minoxidil and finasteride off of oral, take it to a compounding pharmacy, and put it on topically. And I didn't have any leg cramps. So I was like, this is great. I'm on the spironolactone orally. I've got this topical on my hair. And then there was that tacrolimus, which they were like, use this 2 to 3 times a week, or if your scalp feels inflamed.
Yep.
And it worked. Everything worked beautifully.
Okay.
Until 2 months ago, hit the fan all over. And I'm like, why suddenly is this happening?
So 2 months ago was, what is that, May?
Yep.
Okay. What in your life happened in May?
That's the thing. I have went day by day. Kyle and I looked at the calendar. There was no stressor event. There was, nothing out of the ordinary. May is always busy. We know that. Nothing that was extremely jarring. In the past 3 years, I've changed my diet, my exercise, my lifestyle.
Yep.
I tell people I'll be 40 next year. I feel better than I did at 25.
Yeah.
Minus my hair.
Yep. Can I keep asking
Anything.
questions? Okay.
I'm an open book.
So in May, just springtime, did you start any new medications?
No.
Did you stop any medications?
No, because I stopped birth control 14 months ago.
Okay. And did you have any issue with that?
No. My body,
Okay.
with PCOS and everything else, my period has always been all over the place.
Yeah.
Even being on birth control, there'd be sometimes 3-4 months I wouldn't have one.
Yep.
Literally, it's not a joke. I would use 1 box of tampons an entire year. I just really had no period. So when I got off of it, there was nothing big. It was just I would have a period 1 month, and then it would go away for 2-3 months, and then I'd have it for half the month. And so it was just up and down.
Yeah.
But before the shed happened, this is a good point, everything had leveled out. For the first time in my life, I had 6 normal periods in a row for the first time since I was 15 years old.
Starting when?
So if that was May, I think it was basically October and November till April.
Okay.
I had normal cycles.
Okay.
Then in May, my cycle went crazy.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, maybe this is hormone related.
Yep.
So I just did a Dutch test last week, though they're going to fail me on it, because have you ever done a Dutch test?
Is that the one where you have to pee and they have to keep it, like, the pot covered and all that kind of stuff?
I wish.
That's
Mine
a
is
different
a spit test.
one. Okay, yes.
Come
Yes,
to find
yes.
out, I don't make a lot of spit. Couldn't fill up those tubes. I was like, so is that a sign of something? So I had to call them, and they were like, because like when you spit, it'd make the bubbles. And then the next morning when it all settled, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't fill the tube at all. So we'll see if the Dutch test actually works.
So it's interesting that you said that. So there's something that happened around April and May, right?
Yes.
And it's just figuring out. And what was super helpful for me to understand, and sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but when I was going through it, I just felt like there was not a lot of great information out there about, like, you Google, like, what could cause it, and it's like, well, are you pregnant? Or, did you just have a baby? Did you, there's all these things out there, but there's really not, like, great, at least what I found, resources of, like, really talking to you to help you figure out what it is, right? Like, it's all like, go see a doctor, and then you see a doctor and they're like, well, everything looks pretty good to me.
Your labs look great.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's like, well, clearly something's wrong. And so what is the most helpful for me to understand is the 9-month hair loss curve. Have you ever heard that before?
No.
So I don't know why it's not more talked about. I try to talk about it as much as possible. I actually filmed something yesterday for my social, just talking about it again, because I feel like it's difficult to, find that information there, which is crazy. But basically, it is this, if you think of like a bell curve, right, where it starts at 0, goes up, kind of comes back down, and then we're at baseline again. So that is a 9-month process. What the very start of that curve is like day 0, right? That is what I call the trigger event. So just because if your periods were normal all of a sudden, and then in May-ish, all of a sudden they kind of went haywire, that is an indication that something hormones changing, right? It doesn't really matter. I mean, yes, I guess it matters because then your trigger could keep happening. But at the end of the day, the trigger happened in May, right? Whether it's fixed now, whether it was something out of whack, whatever it was, like that trigger, we can't change that trigger. Mm-hmm. What usually happens is that 3 months after the trigger, so this is the first 3 of the 9 months, that trigger causes the hair to go from the growing or active happy phase into the resting phase, okay? So it's basically it triggers, your body freaks out. It doesn't want to send any energy to your hair. It wants to be able to send all of your power, all of your energy to vital organs, right? It doesn't care about your hair. It doesn't care about your nails. It doesn't care about your skin. And so, well, it kind of cares about your skin because it protects you, but really it doesn't care about your hair. And so it diverts its energy to other areas and puts that hair follicle from active into resting phase. It stays in that phase for about 3 months. That's why that first 3 months after that trigger, you're really not seeing a lot. And that's why it's so hard to think, hey, what happened 2 months, when it started 2 months ago, that caused all of this. You're not thinking 3 months ago, you're thinking what just happened, right? And so then once you get to that 3 months, you start losing it, and it gets worse for, once you're at that 6-month mark.
Wait, can I interrupt a second?
Yeah.
So if day 0, is day 0? If
you have
said
no
that's
hair loss, day 0.
Okay, so then that needed to be 3 months before
From
May. So March.
Okay.
So March, you're saying,
Yes.
is the trigger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then May
Yes.
starts the climb of the
Yes.
shed. So for
Yes.
3 months, from March, April, and May, even though my periods were normal until May.
Yeah. So we need to look at March. That's what we need to look at.
Okay. And
Yes.
so something triggered it. And so now it put my hair in sleepy phase.
Yep.
And then now what's it in, like dead
Basically,
phase? Like
it's
get
basically,
out,
yeah, so
purge?
it's still considered, they call it, I think, exogen phase. Some people still just call it, it doesn't matter what it is. It basically, that's when your body releases that hair, typically, is starting about that 3-month mark. And it's a terrible process for about 3 more months, right? So we're 3 months in, it starts climbing. Once you hit that 6-month mark, 6 months from your trigger, that's what I call like the phase.
Oh no,
You're
it's still
freaking
coming
out. But you know what? You've been here before. We've gotten through this before. You know what to expect. And 2, like there's options out there that we can do, which I'll get into.
At least I have a wig.
Exactly. Yes. you have a wig. But it's helpful to know, like, okay, what date am I looking forward to? That 9-month later date, typically. Looking back to March, was there anything in March that was super stressful?
Well, now I need to go back because you're right. I was only looking
People
right
look
around.
right around the time it starts falling out. That's not when we need to look at it. We need to look 3 months before that. So interesting story. This was a week or so ago. I had a patient who, I was seeing for injections, and she said, I know that you've struggled with hair loss before. I just all of a sudden started losing my hair. And so I was talking to her, and I said, when did you notice it? She told me, around a certain time. And I said, well, did something really stressful happen in X month, which was 3 months before? And she kind of just went silent, and kind of her eyes filled up with tears a little bit. And she just kind of nodded her head. And I said, okay, well, now we know that's what it is. This is what we can expect. And she sent me this super, super sweet email a couple hours later. And she said, I was too emotional to say it at the time, but, that's when I found out, my husband had been cheating on me, and that, our marriage, just, it was a very, very stressful time. And she said, it just felt validating that I'm able to figure out what it is, and I'm able to, work towards a date, and that your body really does, your body is just responding to something really stressful, whether it's, something stressful life-wise, or it's surgery, or it's new medication, or it's losing weight, or it's gaining weight, or, really any change in the body can trigger it, which sucks.
Yes. And you're like, why doesn't it happen for everybody?
Yeah. So they told me that I just basically have very sensitive hair follicles, right? So like I can change one medication and it'll trigger it. Whereas some people can lose 100 pounds and they don't lose any hair, And so everyone's a little bit different. But looking back, can you think of anything from March?
No, but now I'm going to deep dive.
Yeah.
Because it could be something as simple as
a new medication, a different medication, anything stressful. Anesthesia is a big one. So if you had anything done, like if I ever need surgery, it's like, I'm going to freak out because I know that's just going to make my hair fall out.
I'll just stay awake. Thank you so much.
It's like, I appreciate it, but local's fine.
Yeah, local, give me a little lidocaine. We'll make it through.
It's appendicitis. I think it can stay.
I'm
I'd rather
fine.
my hair stay. Yeah. But yeah, so I think understanding that curve is really helpful. Of just knowing, like, when you get to that peak phase, like knowing that, hey, this is the worst it's going to get. It is not going to be on this trajectory for 12 more months until I'm bald. All of your hair is not in the same cycle at the same time. So truly your hair will not all fall out. It just feels like a lot of it.
Yeah. And then when you, as you mentioned, when you start seeing the scalp and when you start feeling your ponytail and you're like, oh, it's just devastating.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other word for it, in my opinion, than devastating. Like it is a gut punch. So a couple of things that I found really helpful. Well, first of all, kind of going back to me being a total nerd and trying to figure this out when I was going through it. I genuinely, like, I just need an action plan, right?
Yes, I'm a type A. Give me something to do.
You just tell me what to do.
Yep.
I will do it all. I will throw the freaking kitchen sink at it. I will do all of the things. Just tell me what, and I'll do it. And so I literally, this is like not an exaggeration, for months, I read every single research article that has ever been written on hair loss. Like back from the 60s, right? 1960s. I read everything possible. I just wanted to understand everything about it. I wanted to know what any research has ever shown that X has been helpful, like any little thing. And then whatever the little thing was, even if it's one study that showed that this was helpful, I was like, great, give it to me.
Yeah, let's try it.
I'll take it.
What's hard is when the studies contradict each other.
Yeah.
That's like, have you seen like the one about creatine, right? Like some people are like, oh, creatine leads to hair loss. And other people are like, no, it leads to hair growth. And you're like, well, which is it?
Yeah. So it's about more so kind of like reading the study. So if I hear like, oh, this helps this, like I need to see what the study showed. I need to know who funded the study. I need to know.
That's a big one.
Huge. Yeah. Did the person that's funding the study, are they the one that is benefiting from what the study results show? So independent, I like to look at, how many people were in it? Were males and females in it? What did they exclude from their study? Did they have people with, autoimmune stuff? Did they have, I wanted to look at every aspect. How long was the study? Was it double blind? All of these things. And usually, and that's what my degrees for. I'm trained to read these studies. And so I don't really fall for as much of, oh, this helps and this doesn't. I kind of see, okay, if there is two bodies of research that are contradictory, so I'm not the first one to realize that. Someone has already done a study, rechecking it or saying what the limitations were, And so, but if there's anything that has been actually shown consistently to help, I was like, give it to me, right?
I'll try it.
Yeah. So I started kind of developing something that would put all of those things together, every single thing that could be contributing from a scalp perspective, whether it's inflammation, whether it's, your hairs are in the resting phase. How do we get them back into the growing phase? How do we trigger that so that, yes, they may be there, but like I want them quickly now to go into it. How do we then extend the growing phase? Because it is this cycle, but I want, as we get older, it becomes more and more lazy. And sometimes they just go into resting phase and they just don't really plan to get back out. How do we extend that phase? And then how do we have, DHT is something that can contribute from a hormone perspective to hair loss. What are things that can then block, naturally some DHT from affecting the hair follicle so that's not contributing? I could go on and on, but, how do we put all that into one product? And so I, for the past, I guess, almost 4 years now, have been developing that, and it's finally coming out in September. But we just
gosh,
I know,
incredible.
I brought some for you. I have to show you some of the pictures, but we just finished our study of a 12-week study, and I knew it worked for me, and I knew it worked for some of my friends that I had try it. But seeing all of these people that used it, and like just seeing the emotional impact, the mental impact that it had of like, I finally feel like something's helping. So I'm not trying to like push that, but there's that you can use. It's a topical product that you'll use every day. I definitely want you to try it.
Yes. Oh, I will.
But I also found that a couple things. One is that there are a bunch of topical products. I tried every single topical that I could get my hands on, even things like the compounded prescription stuff, like minoxidil and stuff. My problem that I found with not even almost, every single thing I tried is that I couldn't use it every day because it made my hair greasy. And then if it makes my hair greasy, then I have to wash it more. And so then I would only use it a couple times a week when I washed my hair. And then I didn't feel like I could use it all the time, And so that's a big issue. When I went through this study and I said, the pre-questionnaire, what's your biggest concern? There was two things that stood out. One is that it wouldn't work. I mean, or worse, that it would make it worse, that's definitely not what we want. And then two, that, they had to commit to using it every day to be in the study. And, they were saying, I'm scared I'm gonna have to wash my hair more, because that means more hair loss.
Yeah, the showers are traumatic.
Very traumatic. Very, very, very traumatic. You just see it on the wall. Like you can't even keep washing your hair.
It like gets on everything.
Yes.
It's stuck on every part of your body. And then what's really sad? I was getting my milk out of the fridge this morning. It's on the freaking container.
Yes.
It's like on
everywhere. It's reminding you all the time.
Yes. And my hair is so dark. It's like so blatantly there that, my kids are, they're pulling it off of everything.
People come to you like, oh, you have hair on you. I'm like, I'm aware. It's everywhere.
Put it back in.
Yeah. Stick it back in there.
Put it there.
Exactly. So anyway, that was one of the hard parts, is that I feel like I couldn't find something that I could use. So not only were the ingredients really important, but it's something that you could use every day without causing greasiness, which every single participant said that it did not make their hair greasy. Which is really, really helpful. So the other thing that I found helpful is I needed something that I could do every day. I needed something that, and this is aside from the product, but it is a hopeless situation. You feel like you have no control over it. Your hair's going to fall out as much as it's going to fall out. The really part, pardon my French, is that hair takes a long time to grow.
Yep.
So once it's back, it's like, no, it's not like it's just back. Like it takes it took me so many years to get my hair here, right?
Yes,
like
it took me 2 years to get my hair a little bit back, and now it's gone again. And you're like,
yes.
No,
I didn't even recover fully. Yeah.
No, wait, another couple years?
Yeah.
And I went through that fun phase where it looked like I stuck my finger in a light socket.
Yes.
It just stuck.
Yes.
And I have very curly, wiry hair, so it was wildly embarrassing. Like so much so, I always think about how this affects my kids. Lennox, my daughter, she's 3. She's too young. My son Brexton, though, I remember we were at a race and it hurt my heart so bad. So as it was growing in, it just looks, and they're curly and they're sticking out of like this halo.
Yes.
And he was like, we were at his race and he pulls me aside. It's so sweet. He's like, can you put a hat on or sunglasses? And I was like, and I had no idea, but it's 100% humidity in freaking
So
North
it's
Carolina.
like literally you see every bit of it.
And I was like, what? Why? And he was like, your hair looks really silly. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm so sorry, buddy. And like I put a hat on because I'm like, I
As
never
if
wanted
it wasn't already, like you're already aware of it.
And then I like go to the trailer and had a good cry and then put a hat on and walked out. But like because I'm like, I don't want to embarrass him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It adds a whole other layer to it.
Yeah.
Luckily,
And then you worry like about your husband. You're like, is he looking at me like, well, she looks fucking weird. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so much. I can keep talking about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I just keep going on about how awful it is.
Yes. What are they? Someone the other day said it's their version of CrossFit. You know how it's people that do CrossFit, they have to talk about doing CrossFit all the time? It's like they just need to share with people that they do CrossFit, right? That's what this is.
Yep,
It's like if you had hair loss, it's like it's all I can talk about.
Yep,
yeah,
same.
Because it literally consumes all my thoughts. But yeah, so I felt that in this hopeless situation that I have no control over. My body, it did something X months ago that anything I do now, like it's not gonna
change
reverse
that
the fact that there was a trigger, right? And so I found it was really helpful to do something. I just needed something I could do every day. And so whether that was, a topical that you apply, which was helpful. I can't wait to show you the photos of just my hair kind of right after starting to use it. But also I found that like a red light cap.
Yep.
Yes, there is a ton of evidence saying that helps. But what it helped more so, and especially for you because there's an inflammation aspect that it helps too, but me feeling like, okay, I'm in bed at night, I put that hat on, I did something today that's going to help my hair. Mm-hmm. It took a little bit of that helpless feeling out. It made me feel like I did something for it.
Yeah, like I'm trying.
Yeah, it's like, hopefully this makes it a little bit better so that it just gives you this little bit of hope. So finding things that you feel like you can do every day. And then, I was on social one day and I was kind of quiet for a while and I didn't want to film myself, like I would show up on social before. And then once that happened, it was like, I felt so, like, I hate to say it, but like ugly, right? Mm-hmm. That I didn't want to show up as that version of me because it didn't feel like me. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. And I went on social and just said, hey, sorry, I've been so MIA lately. This is personally what I've been struggling with. And I wish, this was so long ago, and I've wished so many times that I could figure out who said this. And if she's listening and she's the one that said this, I would love, to know and for her to reach out. But I just said, I feel so stupid that I care so much. Like, there are bigger problems in the world than my hair loss. And why do I freaking care so much? Like, I felt guilty and I felt embarrassed and I felt mad at myself for caring, honestly. And she responded and she said, Blair, there's a reason that God talks about women and their hair in the Bible. Like, it is okay. Like, it is part of our identity as women. Like, it is, he even brought that up. Like, he thought about how important that was how many thousands of years ago. And it just kind of made me think, like, it is okay for me to be this upset. Mm-hmm. Because me being mad at myself for being this upset.
Yeah, you didn't need to have the guilt, too.
Yeah, and it's like, it just validated that it's okay that I'm feeling this way. It's okay for you to talk about it. It's okay for you to cry about it. It's okay for you to complain about it. It's something that is really but I guarantee that there's something that you're going to grow from this. You're going to become a better person because of it. You're going to be more empathetic. You're going to be more, concerned about your health. Whatever it is, there's going to be a good that comes from it. And so trying to find that in it while also not beating yourself up.
I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, as you said earlier, how you paralleled it with the IVF, like I fully know. And people always ask, like, if you could have just had kids natural, would you have? And I said no, because God had this plan, and it is so beautiful. And I do feel like, maybe if somebody listening is going through hair loss, it doesn't need to be on a grand scale, but maybe you're going to be able to be the support for somebody else. Or like you said, maybe you're going to be like, look, I've always tried to kick this habit or this, and now this is really going to jumpstart me doing that. So I love that we all should try to find something a little bit positive in the midst of all this, just as we've been saying.
And if you haven't found it yet, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Like,
right.
There is something in it. We just don't know it yet. And, there was a very specific day that once I really, I just felt like there was a day that I kind of accepted my hair loss. And it was the day I remember where I was sitting. I remember everything, where it was like, if I could go back and not experience this, I mean, so many tears, so many, like, just gut punch feelings, would I change it? Same way you said, no, I wouldn't. Like, I don't wish it on anyone. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. Same way that I'm sure, infertility as well. And you probably can't understand infertility unless you've been through it, But I also know that I get to help people because of it, and how lucky am I?
It has to be so emotional. As you said, you have photos of it working on other people, to know that because of your struggle and then your research and determination and grit, other people are going to be able to have their hair back.
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible.
Can I read you a text I got on my phone?
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Blair. I'm so sorry to text you on your personal number, but I didn't have a direct email address for you. I just wanted to this is someone in the trial. I just wanted to thank you so much for letting me be a part of your hair serum project. I was putting my hair up this morning in a ponytail, and I just burst into tears. The bald spots on the side are gone and have been replaced with so many baby hairs. It's never really stuck with any of the hair serums or anything because I just get frustrated. Being part of this project, I've stuck with it because I know it'll make a difference for you, even if I'm just one of many people in it. I haven't worn my hat in a few weeks, and I honestly am just feeling so much better about myself overall, all just because of some hair. I'm a buyer for life. It just, like, that's what it's about. It's not about selling anything, or like, it's about the people that
giving them their confidence back.
Yes, yeah, yep. And that's why I got into aesthetics. Honestly, is I felt like I could have that impact, but like I never would have guessed that I was in the hair world or whatever. But seeing that people aren't canceling plans, and that they're not hiding behind their hat, and that they for once are looking in the mirror and they're not crying sad tears, they're crying happy tears, like that makes every bit of it so worth it. And I wouldn't trade it, so I'm excited. I'm so excited for it to come out and for me to,
I can't wait,
truly be able to, help people that are struggling, because I get it. Bottom line, I get it.
And I think that's the most important part. Like, when, as you said, when your heart is behind something, same with infertility. When you get it, when you can empathize with people, you're like, yeah, this was my calling, and this is why I'm doing it.
Right.
Well, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, never would have guessed it, but I also, when God hears your plans, he laughs,
we always say that.
Yes. So yeah, he's heard my plans a lot and laughed a lot and pivoted me a lot. But I wouldn't change
down
it
the right
for
path.
the world. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
So, yeah.
I love that. And thank you too for giving women some practical advice. And I think that bell curve is great, because I did a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I kept saying, like, what if I'm bald? What if I'm bald? And I think that giving people the hope of, like, okay, it's on this bell curve, there's different phases, we're going to get through this, and then now giving them some action items is great.
Yeah. And I will say, there are some people that, whether for one reason or another, whether it's chemo or something else, that, like, okay, let's say you are bald, then you're more than your hair, even though it feels like we are our hair. There's great options out there. And there's a community of a lot of people who are going through it too. And so if you're struggling, please reach out to me, anyone. I'm happy to just listen, or to give any, thoughts that I can of possible causes or whatever. But you're not alone, and it really sucks.
Yep. And go 3 months back from when it started, because I think that is a huge point.
Yeah. And then mark on your calendar 9 months from that date. That is what we're working towards.
That's it. But I think that's nice, because there's an end in sight. Let's be honest. Some of my best stories start with, So I had a drink and spiraled from there, which is exactly why Big Rack Spirits feels like the unofficial sponsor of every unfiltered moment on this podcast. Whether it's the East Coast Cooler, Trailblazing Tangerine, or Rosie's Pink Lemonade, they make flavored vodka that goes down easier than your latest situationship. It's all natural, super smooth, and honestly, dangerous in the best way. No fake flavors, no mixers needed. Just pour, sip, and overshare. And maybe cry, obnoxiously laugh, definitely regret saying it all out loud. But hey, at least it was entertaining. Oh, and they're not just out here making delicious chaos in a bottle. Big Rack gives back too. Military charities, breast cancer foundations, real impact with every pour. So if you're gonna tell on yourself, you might as well do it with a drink that's worth it. Must be 21 or older, please drink responsibly. Hey friends, it's Samantha Busch. You know I'm all about finding ways to look and feel my best. And I want to share something that made a real difference for me. Ellacor. It's the first and only FDA-cleared treatment using microcoring technology to address wrinkles in the mid to lower face. What's amazing is how it works. Ellacor actually removes tiny pieces of skin to improve both skin quality and quantity with no surgery required. I had my treatment done at HKB Cosmetic Surgery here in Charlotte, and if you're curious, you can visit them too, or head over to ellacor.com/Sam to learn more. So I do have to, because you're here, because I feel like I'm turning this into my personal therapy session.
No, you're good.
So we've also talked about melasma before.
Yes.
And I know, especially in the summer months, there's been a lot of women, because I show some products that like makeup that help cover mine. What are you loving from melasma? I know it's something that like rears its ugly head. It's like you can get it under control in the winter and then it comes up again. But just from somebody in this world, like if somebody's listening, they're like, okay, what's some really good products I can use or treatments? What do you recommend?
Yeah. So I also feel that melasma is a little bit about hair loss too. So melasma, you either have it or you don't really. And if you have it forever. It is, people are predisposed to it. I don't want to say if you have it forever, because people can just get it from hormone changes and pregnancy and things like that. But once you have it, like it can easily come back at any time. So it is a constant struggle. I struggle significantly with it. I'm, people that are Latina, that, are certain subsets of ethnicity? Yep. Are predisposed to it. And so like my
Italian
Cuban,
girl,
yes, my Cuban, the more pigment that you produce, oftentimes the more likely you are to have it. Tons of triggers. Learning your triggers, I think, is really important. For some people, heat is a huge trigger. It's a huge trigger for me. And so you can do all the right things in the summer. If you get hot, it seems like it can be gone. You go out to the beach and like literally you come back in and it's like freaking everywhere. So learning your triggers is really important. One thing that there's two things that don't get enough credit. I mean, obviously sunscreen, like absolutely number one thing that you can do from a prevention standpoint. But even if you do that, it can still happen. One thing that I feel like people are not talking about as much, or that don't know as much, is that blue light is actually a huge trigger for melasma. It can be a huge trigger.
Really?
Yes. And so what is that? So one, it can be on a lot of those LED, masks or whatever. There can be blue light on there. So if you have melasma, stay away from any blue light. But then also blue light from your phone, from your computer, from any visible light can also trigger melasma.
That's so interesting. Though I did just get, here, my phone's here, one of those screen protectors that's the red light.
Yep.
Or it converts your blue light to red light. I don't know how it works. I'm not a scientist.
Yes, for sure. And so limiting that. So that's a great thing because it's literally in front of your face all the time. But another thing that helps is tinted sunscreen. So iron oxide is something that blocks visible light. And so if you use sunscreen and you have melasma, making sure it's a tinted sunscreen with iron oxide, which usually iron oxide just gives things pigment. So it just gives another layer of that protection. So that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't know.
We are getting all the deep, good secrets here on the show today.
Yes, for sure. So iron oxide, that's a great one. Stay away from lasers.
That's how my melasma happened.
Yes. Well, so you were probably predisposed to it.
Yep, but never had anything.
Yes, and then that just brought it out. So,
yep, it was about 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and I got this really light laser. It was called Lace MD, I believe it was called.
Lace MD, yeah.
And the first time it was fine, and then the second round I did, because it was like a series of 3. Afterwards, it was right here, and I was like, excuse me, what's happening? And then now,
So it's funny. Usually they tell you, oh, that just brought the pigment to the surface. We just need to do another one to get it, now it's up to the surface. Now we just need to do one more and it'll get it gone. And it's like, that's not how melasma works. And I think it's one of those that if someone is recommending laser, this is my opinion, if someone's recommending laser for melasma, it tells me one of 2 things, and this is controversial probably, but it tells me either they're not educated on it, or it tells me they don't freaking have melasma themselves, because anyone that has it would be like, you couldn't touch me with a laser with a 10-foot pole. Like it.
Well, that was gonna be
would
my next
make
question. So there's
time
no
so bad.
laser yet that you would trust to put, because I heard the Moxie laser is supposed to be for melasma, and then there's one other one.
Yeah. So also, I think I have a different opinion than a lot of people probably would have.
Well, I'm too scared to do it, so I'm very curious.
If anything, to me, produces heat, and what they'll say is like, oh, it's not producing heat because there's a cooling device that's happening at the same time. Like, if it is producing heat, to me, it ain't worth it. Like every new laser that comes out is like, oh, but this one's great for melasma. And it's like, that is marketing. These people, I see so many people that are being told that this is going to be the thing that helps your melasma for a laser. And I'm like, it doesn't.
And they're not cheap.
They're not cheap, and they're actually making it worse. So that happened to me. I did this 100% to myself as a new provider. I had one little, sunspot right here on my cheek. I remember the freaking day it happened when I was at the beach. And I was like, I'm just going to zap it with the laser. So zap that spot. I was like, may as well just do all of it. Well, it got darker, and I was like, ooh, it's coming to the surface. It's coming out.
Fall off.
Yes. I just need to do one more at a higher dose. Next thing I know, I have melasma all over my whole face. And that kind of started my deep dive into why wasn't I really told by these laser, companies that this could make it worse? It's just not worth it, in my opinion.
What is worth it then for people battling it? Like if there's an in-treatment thing or in-office treatment that they can do?
So there was one thing. Cosmelan was my go-to.
Oh, the peel.
The peel. So most chemical peels produce heat. So have you ever had a chemical peel before?
Yep.
When they put it on, and you wait a couple minutes, and then they take it off. They wipe it off after a couple, 3 minutes or so. Your face feels like it's on fire for those minutes, and they're putting a fan on you. That is heat. Heat can stimulate melanocytes to make melanin. It is an inflammatory response that we're just more predisposed to, those that have melasma. And so to me, if it's making heat, it is potentially worsening your melasma. And so there was Cosmelan, which is a peel that you left on for 8 hours, and didn't produce any heat, but it sat on your skin for that time, and it was incredible. It has since been...
I was like, why are we talking past tense?
I know. So it was made in Spain, and Spain is, basically they passed legislation you can't use hydroquinone anymore. And it had to do with sourcing it the wrong way, and there was mercury in it, which is obviously really bad. And so that's why it happened. It's one bad bunch ruins it for everyone.
Can we black market it and get it back?
I've literally talked to my chemist. I'm like, can we make it? So that's in talks. But really topicals, it's a low and slow situation, in my opinion. I don't find that there's anything besides that peel, and there's other... They came out with a hydroquinone-free one, but ultimately hydroquinone helps a lot. But it's really, there's not a great quick fix. It is what you're putting on your skin every single day. So things like hydroquinone, things like vitamin C, sunscreen, arbutin, azelaic acid, kojic acid, all of those can help. And just getting on that right, getting on the right products that work for you without overdoing it. Because if you overdo it, then that's inflammation. And then that can cause it again. Too. Exactly. And so it's this really fine line of figuring out what works best for you. So I wish I had a better answer.
But at least you told us what not to do. Because
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
As somebody, as a consumer, it's like, oh, okay, that laser says it's going to get rid of my melasma. Let's do it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
tell me, just because I love all things like aesthetics. Like
Yes.
I just love it. I'm
Yes. I know,
fascinated by all of it.
Obviously, I like it enough. I made a career out of it.
What are you loving for people right now? I need to know that. And then the flip side, I'm going to ask you, what is just like a joke? Like that doesn't work. You're just spending your money for nothing. So let's start with like the positive. What do we absolutely love and recommend?
Yes. So I am seeing a huge shift in kind of the regenerative space. Yeah. So I still do filler. People come to me for very, very natural results. They want to look like themselves, but not look like they had any work done. And so in my line, people are already coming to me for that. And so finding ways that we can make the body make its own collagen, I think is ideal.
Is that
right?
like Sculptra?
Sculptra, PDGF, PDRN, exosomes, things that are literally that we are telling your body to signal to make more collagen, to make more elastin, to act this way, not this way. And so there's a trend getting away from filler and going more towards the regenerative side. Now, there is absolutely still a place for filler. I still do it, but it's usually paired with some other things. Personally, I don't really do under eye filler anymore. I could do it on someone.
I heard it
great.
migrates sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that I've had patients for 5, 6, 7 years that their under eye filler looked amazing. But then all of a sudden one day it doesn't, and it's because the, muscle around the eye it's basically like it's a sphincter. And so it's always moving as we blink and smile and all the things. And what can happen is that filler over time can shift because that muscle is kind of moving it.
Wait, are you saying, because you said 5, 6, 7 years, are you saying they did it 5 years?
And it looked great for that time.
And
And
like
all
they
of a
did it
sudden-
once?
Like my patients.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, this is everyone.
That'll
but
stay for that long?
it stays really long under the eyes.
No
and it can
way.
look great. And then one day it's like,
Huh, what the heck's that thing?
yeah. And so, because of that and because of better options being available now,
Wow.
we can, I inject PDGF, under the eyes. PRP was
Wait,
kind
so
of before
I
that.
did that, and for 3 months it looked bomb, and then it went away.
Which one was it?
Not PRP, this other one.
PDGF, or was it PRF?
PRF.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of acronyms
There's
going on.
so many, I know. And there's a lot of like snake oil out there, I feel like, of try this. None of those are snake oil, but it's so hard to know, what is actually good. So basically it was PRP was kind of the gold standard
did
for
that.
a while. Then PRF came out and it was, hey, this is better. It's a more basically concentrated, whatever form of PRP. It's a very
And we should
very
tell
succinct
people
way of
that
saying
PRP, they take your blood, they spin it down, and you're basically putting the good stuff of your blood back in. So it's not a filler. It's nothing
Yes.
fake.
Yes, so-
It's your blood.
Exactly. So PRP is platelet-rich plasma. And that is basically, we take your blood, we spin it down, we get the platelets, out of your blood that has all of your growth factors in it. We want the growth factors to then tell your body to signal it to make more collagen here. There's a couple problems with that. One, if we're only putting as good as what we have back in us. So if you are a used car with bad oil, we're taking it out and putting bad oil right back in, right? Like if we're older, we don't have as good of platelets and not platelets, but growth factors. And then it's also a snapshot in time. So if it depends on so many factors. So if you're if you're dehydrated or if you are deficient in something in that moment, like it is in that exact moment, what is your blood like? And that's what we're putting in. So it's very hit or miss. It can be great,
Interesting.
it can be not. And the older you are, the less it works. The older you are, the more you want it and need it to work, right? And so that was kind of some issues, is just the inconsistencies. The younger, someone really young and really healthy, they're just probably going to do well. But they usually don't have as much aging, right? And so then we started to get into what are ways that we can basically get growth factors, stem cells from healthy people that go through the same, regulatory process as if you were to get donated blood, right? how do we take a really healthy, young person's, how do we take all of the bad stuff out of it? And when I say bad stuff, not bad, but stuff we don't want. We don't want any of their, DNA, RNA, any of this stuff in it that's going to then signal anything to the body to do anything. We're taking just the message from this healthy environment, putting it in us so that we know that it's going to tell it to do the right thing without having to think about all the other factors, variables. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's what basically exosomes and PDGF are. Exosomes are really just applied topically, and then PDGF is injected. So I had it done a couple days ago, actually, under my eyes.
They can put that in your hair too, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Injected into the scalp. I had exosomes injected into my scalp in 2020, I believe, when I was going through all of it, because I would do anything. But that's really the future, is how are we messaging, how are we sending messages to the body, to specific areas, telling it to do something. And so really the regenerative side is getting me really excited. And I think that it's going to be really fast evolving. There's going to be new stuff, hopefully, all the time there. But unfortunately, the FDA is really slow. And so some great things are...
You're like, we're ready for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, this just popped in my head.
Yeah.
As a professional, what did Lindsay Lohan do? Like, sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah. So she definitely had surgery of
Like a full facelift, a mini, like upper bluff. Like, where are we going with this? Because no shame, homegirl looks phenomenal.
She looks amazing.
Amazing.
One thing that I think people are not talking enough about that played a role is sobriety. I think that played such a role in hers. The skin is so unhealthy.
That's true.
And so
You're the first person to talk about that.
I know. Yeah, no one is talking about that. If you look at her skin, like her tissue, all of it, extremely unhealthy. I think her getting healthy
was the first step.
Was the first step, because she could get the facelift and do all the things, but if she wasn't internally healthy, I don't think she could have the results that she's having. So I think taking care of herself was the number one thing, and then obviously supplementing with, surgery. I think whoever did it,
I would like to know their name.
yeah,
Put me on their list.
Yeah, did a phenomenal job. But
So, do we think a facelift? Do we think an implant somewhere?
I think she had probably a lift of some sort, skin tightening. Like, as much as there's a lot of skin tightening devices out there, I think a lot of those are snake oil, honestly.
Wait, can I tell you what I did that I actually love?
What?
I did Ellacor.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Where'd you have it done?
I did.
Not like what provider, but what area on your face?
First
wherever.
I did my stomach.
Yeah.
Because I had lost my belly button.
Yeah.
After it was gone. There was
Yep.
just like a skin fold. And I was like, no. I need a belly button back.
Yes.
So I did it there. And then I had them do just basically the lower face because I was getting those smile lines. And I was
Yes.
like, well, I don't want to fill them.
Yep. It's another way of you're using your own body to do it, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so for those of you guys listening that don't know what Ellacor is, it's macro coring. And so it's like they go in there and they take out little cores of skin, and then as your body heals, it tightens it because that skin's literally not there. And then it also produces all the collagen. And so I did that last off season, and I'm telling you, I was to the point that I was like, okay, I need to fill these. I'm not loving them.
Yep.
And I don't feel like it. It literally, I just always say it goes like, just like a little,
Yes.
nothing like crazy. Like
Yep.
if you need a facelift, it's definitely not that.
Right.
But like I said, I'm 39. I just had to the point that I was like, oh, I could probably fill these laugh lines. What are my other options?
Right.
And that's how I found it. And I was really,
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
Yeah, I've heard people had amazing results with it. I think kind of the stomach is a great area.
I'm going to do my knees, above my knees.
Yeah, you can also do sculpture there. It's really great there. Just to tell the body to make its own collagen there. The one thing that you have to be cognizant of is that people heal differently. And so some people will actually have cores of scarring everywhere, depending on how they scar or how it's done. So definitely see someone who is specialized in it, because you can have kind of that polka dot grid everywhere of these whole scars. But I think that that's very, very, very extremely unlikely if you're seeing someone that's trained appropriately.
Yeah, I will say it was very I knew kind of what to expect because I did my stomach first. And then when I saw the results on my stomach, I was like, oh, cool,
heck
I'll
yes,
do my
sign me up.
face.
Yeah.
But it's very jarring when you're first done because it is, it's a lot. There's a lot of holes.
Yes.
But then over time, and now it's really interesting. I was actually talking to them again because I would like to get it done. You should never do it, let me preface this, in the summer when it's hot because you can flare up hyperpigmentation.
And the sun is one of the number one contributing factors. Actually, I think it is the number one contributing factor to scarring. So, UV, as far as it can make hyperpigmentation, it can make it, there's so many things that contribute. So anything that you are getting done, don't plan on being in the sun.
Yeah, winter project, ladies.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would definitely do it again. But I was just, it was really.
Probably helped with skin texture and
oh
lines
my
and
gosh.
everything.
Yeah. But now I was actually talking to them and they said that they do a regimen now beforehand with, I think, maybe retinol and hydroquinone. And it just really helps people's skin get ready for it a little bit more, which I thought was interesting that it's like every year in this world, something new comes up or they learn
every
something
day,
new.
probably. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Extremely fast growing. And that's the hard part, FDA-wise, is they're very, very slow. But this is so rapidly evolving that there's great things that other countries are doing that we don't have access to yet. And so...
Well, I could be your guinea pig if you want to try anything.
Oh, well.
On the down low, I'm fine. You just let me know. I'll give it a whirl.
I will let you know. I have done
And then
all the
we'll
things. Usually it's all
podcast it.
on myself. Usually I tried it every bit on myself.
Well, give me, before we wrap up, I want to know, just so people listening, if they, like, tell them what not to waste their money on. Because there is so much out there. And I think that's one thing with, like, social, everybody's pushing, like, this is the greatest thing. This is the greatest thing. And before you know it, you're getting all these things. And you're like, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what is not worth it? Or what fad, too? Like, if you've seen anything
so many
on social that you're like, that is so stupid, that's not working at all, what would be some of your top ones?
Oh, gosh.
To put you on the spot.
God, there's so many. Which one? Like, tell me ones that you've heard viral lately. I'll tell you.
Well, now I have to think.
I know. I'm like blanking.
Well, tell me, is there like
There's one thing that I feel like people don't really know, and that I think is a huge is helpful. So a lot of people are on retinol. Retinol is part of something called retinoids. It's a family of think of it like retinoids is an umbrella term, and retinol is the very lowest of all the retinoids. So people think being on a retinol is the most anti-aging. It's a nomenclature issue. It's really a retinoid is the most anti-aging. But being on a retinol is the least potent of them all, of all of the different types. And it's actually more drying and irritating than some stronger alternatives. And
like
so
what?
Retinaldehyde is basically. So if you think of, I don't mean to get into like a science lesson here, but think of it as this tiered system. So there's retinol on the bottom, then there's retinaldehyde, and then there's retinoic acid. Retinoic acid is what we want to get to. That is the usable form. Think of that as like tretinoin, Tazarac, all of those. Those are retinoic acids. The higher up you get on that tier, usually the more irritation. So that's why you can't start with like a really high dose tretinoin, because your face will freak out and fall off, right? And so most people especially that have really sensitive skin, will start off on a retinol on the bottom. The problem is the conversion from retinol to retinaldehyde is a very irritating conversion. And so you can be on a really low dose of something, of retinol, and have a ton of irritation, whereas you could get something that has more results with less irritation. And so I don't want to say I'm anti-retinol, but like I kind of think it's a way, like go straight to the retinaldehyde. It's going to be more results and less irritation. So
like what would that be? Because I know you said tretinoin is the top one. So what is that middle tier? Like what is the product in that middle tier?
So we have like Ret Plus is that. There's Ret Advance by Obagi. There is Alpha Ret, I believe is a retinaldehyde by Skin Better. A lot of them are kind of in that medical grade tier. It's sort of newer, so not a lot of over-the-counter medicines in the sense of like drugstore products have it, have retinaldehyde. I can give you a little bit as a side note about that. So people's opinion on drugstore products, like, are they as good, right? The thing about drugstore products, retinol is all of them, is that they're being sold to the absolute masses, right? Think of all the people that shop at drugstores. They are being sold to so many people that their goal is to have it work and have certain things in it, but with the least amount of issues as possible, the least amount of irritation. And so because of that, they usually put extremely low potency stuff in it that, low potency and in really, really small amounts so that they can claim they have things in it. But their biggest issue is CYA, like protect themselves from anyone saying it caused any harm, which a lot of the stuff, we want it to be really effective and have high stuff in it. And so that's why kind of the word medical grade kind of has come about. There's a lot of controversy. It's not regulated, but you're being, under the care of a provider that knows how to get you the max results with the least issues. And if there is an issue, how do we then manage it?
Right. Or they're setting the expectation like, hey, your face is going to peel off. Be ready.
Right. Yeah. And if you have Joe Schmo, in a drugstore about called Eckerd, that was way back in the day, that uses that, like, who do they call if their face falls off? Like, you're not going to call Rite Aid, Eckerd, whatever, and say, hey, my face is falling. Like, that they need someone that they can go to. And so because of that, that's why a lot of these kind of stronger, actives are in that medical grade category.
Well, that makes sense. So it's kind of like spend your money wisely to get the results instead of maybe going a little bit lower, but you're not getting any results. You're really just throwing it away.
Yeah. So if you, and I know we got off topic, but like if you wanted to invest in the right stuff, but then save on things, I would say things that you can save your money on are your cleanser, your moisturizer, and there's some really great sunscreens out there too. Like those are the things, if you wanted to do like a save and splurge, save your money on those things. But the things that are worth splurging are vitamin C and retinoid. Those are the two, like if you had to make sure that you invested in really good products that weren't over the counter, and when I say over the counter, I mean drugstore, those are the two that they're really expensive to make and expensive to bottle stably. And so that's why, they are those more expensive products, but they really do make a lot of difference. So those are the two that I would splurge on.
Well, that's perfect. This whole talk was super helpful. I really appreciate it. I feel like people know if they're battling hair loss, melasma, or just really looking into like, hey, I want to dabble into,
aging, just making sure that we're aging well.
Yeah, but like let's do it in the most effective, cost-effective way at the same time. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited to try out this hair serum and report back in 12 weeks.
Absolutely, yes. Well, hopefully you'll see it sooner. Most people see around like 3 to 4 weeks they're starting to see results. So.
And you said that that'll be available to purchase in September.
In September.
Do you want to tell them where?
BlairSkincare.com.
There you go. Yes. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for being here.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I have learned so much from Blair. And not only that, but that 90-day bell curve has finally given me a little bit of hope in this terrible hair loss journey that I'm on. So thank you so much, Blair, for all of that knowledge that you shared with us. And you guys, please be sure, go check out my YouTube at Samantha Busch. Comment, 5-star, review it. Help me get that page up there and going. And also be sure to follow us on social media at Cert Oversharer. You're going to find lots of funny behind the scenes. You never know what's going to be on there. And thank you guys again so much for the love and support. It's awesome seeing you all out at the tracks and everywhere and hearing you guys say, hey, I love your podcast. So thank you guys.